Hi everybody, this is Jorge.
And I'm Yareli.
And we're presenting this grammar topic today, which is direct object
and indirect object.
So let's start. First, the direct object. Of course, we need to start asking ourselves, what is the direct object? Well, the direct object of the verb is the thing that is being acted upon. It answers the question what or who is being affected by the action. Another way to say it easier is the direct object is the receiver of the action. Let's see an example. I play the guitar. I'm playing something. But what am I playing? What is receiving the action of the verb? Exactly. Guitar. So we can say that guitar is the direct object of this sentence. We need to know that not all the sentences have direct object. For example, he paints. He paints what? Nothing in specific, but the sentence still makes sense. He's painting something, but he's painting. But he paints the house. He paints what? House. We'll see how to find the direct object. To find the direct object, we need a formula. But don't worry, it's not that hard. The formula is subject plus verb plus what? Let's see an example. My girlfriend drives a car. We have the subject, my girlfriend, the verb, drives, and the what? A car. So we can say, my girlfriend drives what? Car. Car is the direct object.
Transitive verbs. Transitive verbs are verbs that represent the first part of an action. They must have a direct object in order to have a complete sense. Here we have some transitive verbs. For example, is, give, bring, send, make, show, choose, take, buy, hit, play, etc. Here we have an example. Owen shows. In this sentence, the meaning is not understandable because Owen shows. But shows what? We don't know what he's showing. And in this other, Owen shows his paints, we can understand that he's showing his paints. His paints is the direct object. We need the direct object to understand Owen shows because it is a transitive verb. The direct object often follows a transitive verb.
Let's see more information about the direct object. The direct object is not always the same thing in all the situations. When we are using verbals, for example, infinitives, gerunds, or participles, there is another formula to do. The formula is verbal plus what or whom. Let's see an example. First, with gerunds. Finishing my thesis was my goal. Finishing what? My thesis. Finishes is the gerund, and the direct object is plus what? My thesis. With infinitives we have I went to drink beer. I went to drink what? Beer. The infinitive is to drink, and the direct object is beer. For the last, the participles we have hugging his baby, Mark cried. Hugging whom? His baby, the baby. Hugging is a participle, and the direct object is his baby. Sometimes a verbal phrase is direct object also. For example, my sister hates eating vegetables. We need the formula again. My sister with subject hates, which is the verb, and eating vegetables, which is the direct object. Eating vegetables is a verbal phrase. And sometimes a complete clause is the direct object. For example, I hate when I do my projects at the last time. What do I hate? When I do my projects at the last time, we have the subject, which is I, the verb, which is hate, and the direct object, which is when I do my projects at the last time. He likes to stay in the grass. She likes what? To stay in the grass. To stay in the grass is a complete clause, and it's also the direct object. And for the last, we have our example, our main example, the one which we will analyze next. It says, my father told me that life is amazing and full of joy. but he told me also that you need to get out of your bed and discover it by yourself. My father told me what? You can read it. If we diagram this sentence, we will have something like this. First, we have father, which is the subject, and it's a noun. As the lexical verb, we have told, which is in past, and we have the direct object, which is in red. In the direct object, we have the subject and noun life, that, which is an expletive, is, which is a linking verb, is the main verb of the direct object, and we have the predicate adjectives amazing and beautiful joined by the conjunction and. My is a possessive pronoun and it is also functioning as an adjective, and me, which is the indirect object. This first one from here is our first main clause, and our other main clause, which is he also told me that you need to get out of your bed and discover it by yourself. He is the subject pronoun. Told is the main verb, the lexical verb in past tense. We have again a direct object in red for you. You is a noun. It is subject of the direct object also. That, the expletive, the main verb of the direct object, which is need. And then we have an infinitive phrase to get out, acting as a direct object of the direct object, of a preposition, bed, object of the preposition, and you're the possessive noun and adjective. Of your bed is a prepositional phrase. It is joined to discover it by yourself by the conjunction and. Discover is the noun, it's a verb, sorry. It is the indirect object. By is the conjunction. And yourself is a reflexive pronoun. This is a compound sentence because we have two main clauses.
Now, it's time to talk about the indirect object. But first of all, what is an indirect object? Well, it is the part of the sentence that receives the direct object. It is not as common as the direct object. For example, I sent a letter. As we saw, a letter is the direct object. Why? Because it answers to the question, what? I sent what? A letter. And then we have the same sentence, but adding an indirect object. I send you a letter. I send you a letter. You is the indirect object because it answers to the question to whom. I send a letter to whom? To you. Now, difference between direct and indirect object. Sometimes it may be confusing to differentiate the direct object from the indirect object. For example, I slapped Mark. I slapped what? What? Mark. Mark is the direct object. Why? Because it answers what? Even if it seems that it answers to whom? No, because it's the direct receiver of the action. A difference in this case, I slapped Mark for Tom. For whom I did do that? For Tom, not for Mark. For Tom is the indirect object. How to find the indirect object? Well, there is not a specific formula to find the indirect object. To have an indirect object, you have to have, for sure, a direct object. If you don't have a direct object, you cannot have an indirect. Indirect object is the recipient of the direct object. Here an example to explain it better. He gives the book to Maria. Now, first, the direct. He gives what? The book. To whom? To Maria. So Maria is receiving the book. It means that she is receiving the action. It means that she is receiving the direct object. Types of indirect object. There are different types of indirect object. The first one is the common, which receives the direct object. For example, here, he made me some coffee. Here is the common way to represent the indirect object. And this is the second one. Prepositional objects. It is the same, but in this case, the indirect object comes after a preposition. The prepositions to and for. For example, he made some coffee to Maria. It's after to. The indirect object comes after to Maria. And then he made some coffee for Maria. It comes after for. That is why it's called prepositional objects, because it comes after a preposition. Now, for understand better, we have a diagram. In this diagram, we can see each part of this sentence. The color blue is to refer to the indirect object. Now we have the sentence. I thought you helped them when they wrote the magazine for us and made the interview to her. It's a compound sentence because it has two main clauses. Now we're going to see the first main clause. We have I. It's a subject and a pronoun. Then thought, it's a verb and it's in past tense. Then we have the direct object. All of this is the direct object because it answers I thought what? You helped them. Then we have this clause. In this clause, you is the subject and the pronoun. Then helped is the verb in past tense and is the object of the indirect object. The indirect object is them. Why? Because it answers to the question to whom. I thought you helped. To whom? To them. Then we have when, that it's a subordinating conjunction. It connects this clause with this clause, the two main clauses. We have they, that it's the subject and it's a pronoun. Then all of this is the direct object. We have two verbs, so we have two clauses. The first clause is wrote magazine. And wrote is the verb and it's in past. Then magazine, it's a noun and is the direct object because they wrote what? They wrote a magazine. Then we have for us. It's an indirect object or a prepositional object. Why? Because it comes after the preposition for. Then we have that it's a definite article that works as adjective. And then we have another conjunction that it's and. It connects these two clauses. Then the verb it's made and it's in past. Then we have the direct object made what? Made the interview. Interview it's a noun and direct object. Then it's an adjective and an article. Then we have another prepositional object because it starts after to, that it's a preposition, and this together it's the indirect object. This sentence, as I said, is a compound sentence.
And now for the last, let's see a short review of some of the main points that we have seen. The first one, not all of the sentences have a direct object or an indirect object. For example, remember the example of he paints the house for Katie. Another one. The formula to find the direct object is subject plus verb plus what, and in verbals we use verbal plus what. Verbal phrases and complete clauses can be direct objects.
And then we have indirect object receives the direct object. It means that indirect receives the action. Also, indirect object answers the question to whom or for whom is the action being done. You need direct object to have an indirect object. If you don't have it, you cannot have an indirect object.
Thank you very much for your attention. We hope you understand this.
Thank you.